I had not said a word to her about anything that I'd experienced in America and this whole reptilian thing. I had not said a word. And then she said to me, you know the royal family of reptilian? And I played the idiot, you know. What are you talking about? I'm thinking, shit, not another reptilian, you know. And she said, yeah, they're reptilian. They're a hybrid bloodline. And they can move between human and reptilian, a reptilian state. And that's what I've been saying over the years and getting great ridicule for it. But I'm saying it because I've heard it from so many different sources that it's well long ago crossed my line that this is actually real.
But we've never had that caught on camera, have we? We've never seen it with our own eyes.
Well, no, because obviously you don't shift in a public situation. But what I do in a number of my books, I think I include it in the roadmap, is describe what she said to me in detail. I then came across in the United States a lady who said that she was conducting satanic rituals, and she was under mind control. She was part of this MK Ultra stuff, and they often use mind control for people who conduct the rituals, because then they don't remember. They have compartmentalized minds, and they'll conduct a ritual but have no memory of it once they mess with their minds again. But some people, and I've come across a lot of them really over the years, these compartments in the mind that hold these, they call them in the mind control trade altered states. What they do is they break the mind up into compartmentalized sections, a bit like a honeycomb, basically. And each of these honeycombs is programmed with a certain personality and a certain role, and they are then pushed back into the subconscious, and they give them what's called a front altar, a sacrifice.
Who are they? That's the $1 million question.
These cultists, and these cultists, that these inner circle of the cult and others further out too, they are answering to these perceived gods. They're not, they're a bunch of frickin' prats, but they're perceived as gods. And they were perceived as gods in the ancient world.
But can we identify these cultists? Are there a specific family group, someone that we can actually put a name and a face to?
If you can see them, they're gophers, right? They might be powerful gophers, they might be rich gophers, but they're still gophers, right? The real power is in the shadows and keeps itself in the shadows. It doesn't want to be seen. And then the deeper shadows, you're into another dimension.
Do you know who these people are in the deeper shadows, though?
Well, it's very difficult to identify people who constantly remain in the shadows, but you can start to identify those at the high gopher level. So you're looking at the House of Rothschild for a start. It used to be called Bauer, and they changed the name to Rothschild. You're talking about the Rockefellers in America, but there are many of these interbreeding families.
So and the big rich families you think are sacrificing children?
Absolutely. Is everyone in the families and all of the families doing it? Probably not, no. But are some of them fundamentally doing it? Absolutely.
And have you got any evidence? Hardcore, concrete evidence of that?
It's all in the books over the last 36 years. There's one called The Perception Deception, which is about that thick. You think that's a big
Give
book?
me a brief example of evidence that I can walk away with today so that I can tell people, no, I know that's true. I know they're sacrificing.
I met a lady. She was a close friend and acknowledged in the papers as a close friend of Princess Diana for 9 years. And I'd been over to America where in a period of about 15 days, I'd met 12 different people in different cities and locations who told me the same story. One of the things that's happened to me since I went through my head mind-blowing experience in 1990 is that a subject will come into my life and suddenly information on that subject, which has just appeared in my life, will come to me from all angles. So this was really the point when the whole reptilian thing came in. I started meeting these people in this 15-day period who said they'd seen someone appear to be human, change into a reptilian form, and then go back again. So I'd arranged to meet somebody when I got back who said that she knew about Satanism because she'd been brought up in it and all that stuff. So I go and meet her, and she tells me about her experiences in Satanism. And she tells me that for a time she was married to a bloke who was a warden of something called Burnham Beeches in the west of London, which is an area of forests and copse and clearings and etc. And she lived in there. And she told me the story of going out at night. She realized eventually that her husband was orchestrating the Satanism in that area. She goes out one night, she says, and it's dark, and she's walking through the trees, and she sees a kind of a light. So she walks forward, and she's looking through the trees. And there is a circle of Satanists in the robes. And leading the ritual is Ted Heath, the Prime Minister of Britain, who took us into the European Union. And next to him is his Chancellor of the Exchequer of the time. And she told me about the ritual and what she saw up to a point. And she told me everything else that she kind of knew about what her experiences were. And I'm drinking a cup of tea. And I just finished my tea. And I said, well, it's amazing what you're telling me. Bloody hell. I mean, what's going on? So I put my tea down and I said, well, nice to meet you. I'll see you. And I turned around. And as I was turning, I said, I've had some strange experiences. I said, while I'm in America, people were telling me they'd seen people turn into reptiles, right? And as I turned, all I could hear her doing was like that. And I turned around and she's holding her chest. She said, oh, my God, she said, I weren't going to tell you that. And she told me how she had seen during this ritual Ted Heath, during the ritual, transform into a non-human form. And she said, first of all, once he was in his non-human form, she said, he started talking not like Heath, but like the old transatlantic telephone lines where you had those big breaks between words,
Mm-hmm.
It was basically like that. And she said the other thing that amazed me was I'm there like, what am I seeing? She said the rest of the circle was like the most natural thing in the world. There was no reaction at all. It's like, this is how it is. We've done this many times. And so I then came across this lady not long afterwards who was a close friend of Diana for 9 years. And she came to see me on the Isle of Wight. I've still got the interviews. Those old audio tapes. They were reel to reel.
You have to mend them with a bit of sellotape if they snap.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. One of them. Anyway, they lured her in. She said Diana used to describe herself as the Windsor's brood mare. They'd drawn her in because they wanted her genetics. And the moment they had the genetics with the boys, she was out and didn't last long after that, if you remember.
Mm.
And Charles went back to the person he was with all the time, really, Camilla.
Do you think King Charles could be a satanic file?
Do I think the royal family is involved in Satanism? Yes, I do. Am I saying that every last member of them is? No, I'm not. But key members are. and anyway, she told me these things, and they're all in my books in detail. And I had not said a word to her about anything that I'd experienced in America and this whole reptilian thing. I had not said a word. And then she said to me, "You know the royal family of reptilian?" And I played the idiot, you know. What? What are you talking about? I'm thinking, shit, not another reptilian, you know. And she said, yeah, they're reptilian. They're a hybrid bloodline, and they can move between human and reptilian a reptilian state. And that's what I've been saying over the years and getting great ridicule for it. But I'm saying it because I've heard it from so many different sources that it's well long ago crossed my line that this is actually real.
But we've never had that caught on camera, have we? We've never seen it with our own eyes.
Well, no, because obviously you don't shift in a public situation. But what I do in a number of my books, I think I include it in the roadmap, is describe what she said to me in detail. I then came across in the United States a lady who said that she was conducting satanic rituals, and she was under mind control. She was part of this MK Ultra stuff, and they often use mind control for people who conduct the rituals, because then they don't remember. They have compartmentalized minds, and they'll conduct a ritual but have no memory of it once they mess with their minds again. But some people, and I've come across a lot of them really over the years, these compartments in the mind that hold these, they call them in the mind control trade altered states. What they do is they break the mind up into compartmentalized sections, a bit like a honeycomb, basically. And each of these honeycombs is programmed with a certain personality and a certain role, and they are then pushed back into the subconscious, and they give them what's called a front altar. The front altar is what they think is them, and what anyone interacting with them in normal life will think is them.
Is this the third eye theory?
No, it's not that. It's a compartment of the mind, and it's called in the mind control trade the front altar. Now, what then happens is these back altars, as they're called, with different roles, are programmed with activation codes. It might be a phrase, it might be a word, it could be anything that they program in. And when they give them those codes, the front altar goes into the subconscious, and the back altar that's been activated comes out. Now they're a completely different personality. They can be abused or violently by the rich and famous. And when it's experienced, or they can, in this woman's case, conduct satanic rituals. And then when it's over, they put the front altar or the activated altar back in the subconscious. They bring the front altar forward. The front altar has no memory or awareness of what they've been doing. Now, I was researching this in enormous frickin' detail, both sides of the Atlantic and elsewhere, come to that. From about 1996 to across the millennium, I became very, very au fait with how this whole thing works. And but what can happen is that eventually the walls of these honeycombed altars start to collapse, and when they do, memories flood into the conscious mind. At first, they think they're going crazy, but gradually they realize they are memories of what actually happened and what they've done. And this lady, who was conducting rituals for them, was talking about all these people that were in the rituals that she was conducting, including members of the British royal family. And she describes what the Queen, what the old Queen Mother, the nation's grandmother, butter wouldn't melt, and others look like in a shape-shifted state, because she was describing how during these satanic rituals they do with all the blood and everything, they go freaking crazy, and then they shapeshift into it. But of course, it's in a closed situation where they are among like people.
You're not a royalist then?
Oh, I think I can fairly say I'm not. No, and by the way, never have been.
You've convinced me.
never have been since I was a kid. I thought, hold on, when I was a little kid, I thought, what do you mean? They're head of state. Why? And if you put it down to basics, they're head of state because of who had sex with who in what frickin' order. It's ludicrous, right? What are we doing, people? Anyway, but the royal bloodlines through a long period were the ones running the shows in the different countries, right? And it was controlled by royal succession. In other words, the same bloodlines would take over the monarchy. And these royal bloodlines, if you go back and go all over the world, they have always incessantly interbred, and they are described as having the divine right to rule. All right, the monarchy, the divine right to rule. But nothing divine about it. Their right to rule is because of their connection to these serpent gods, as some cultures call them. And so when people reached a point of maturity, we've still not got there in Britain, mind, it started to reject royal control. And said, "Oh, we want to run the show. We want the people to be in control, not the royals." They created politics, and politics was just another way of getting people to give their power away to the control system.
The control system being the elite cult.
The origin of and control starts with this astral dimension, and these entities in the astral dimension comes down into our reality via this cult, which is why these cultists are doing satanic rituals to the gods, the same as the ancients were.
Have you ever been considered a cult leader?
You must be joking. I work alone. I've always worked alone. I'm not interested in working.
But your following is huge now.
How many times I have said over the years, and I say it again, don't follow me. Don't follow anyone. Follow your frickin' self. Follow your own thoughts. Follow your own instincts. But make sure that before you form perceptions, you're looking at all possibility and not just the possibilities that you're given.
Let me tell you.
As a saying that's undeniable goes, everything that's here is from here. Like everything on earth is of earth, or part of this creation, part of this reality, part of this universe, whichever word you want to call it, part of this existence. Everything is of this. So, saying to say, those stories in the Bible and other books, mythical creatures, mythical beings, it comes from somewhere, people. It has to come from somewhere. Hence, we're discussing it, talking about it, so many depictions, so many Asian history, Asian texts. And come to think of it, why these beings love sacrifice and sacrifice this and spill that, spill this, and destruction and evilest things, the darkest parts. That's where they reside, the darkest spots. So this reptilian theory, people, is just like becoming more and more undeniable. It's not a topic you can ignore and just sweep under the mat and dash one side and anymore and say, this thing is crazy, this thing is ridiculous. No, 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 no. We cannot, people. Given the world we're living in right now, so-called president, leader of the free world, Trump, him and Epstein, you see what Epstein do with people? So-called files and all type of craziness, people. Crazy things just keep it docile, keep us on our phones, keep us on the internet, keep us watching news and it's a huge distraction, just like if the child. It's like we just focus on our phones, focus on the latest news, on these topics and these information. Even the internet is the same thing. People just flooded with things just to keep you like in a loop of docileness. It's sudden, it's sudden or sudden whatsoever, people. The reality is sad. It's very sad. So, we keep going, people. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep getting stronger and stronger. Yeah.